Well, folks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on arguably their hardest challenge yet this season with the Buffalo Bills. Let's talk about it. Shout out Sleeper, by the way. More on them a little bit later on in this video. So, the Bucs are going into week number 11 after a loss against the New England Patriots. The Buffalo Bills are going into week number 11 after a loss to the Miami Dolphins. Both teams are at 6-3. This game is being played in Buffalo, by the way. The Bills are scoring 27.6 points per game. That is 6th in the NFL, and they're allowing only 21 points per game. That is 11th in the NFL as well. On the flip side, the Bucs are scoring 24.4 points per game. That is 11th in the NFL, but they're allowing 22.9 points per game. That's 14th in the NFL. But both teams are still above average in terms of their points for and their points against. So kudos to them for that. But look, the Bills have still been a very, very solid team this year. They have wins against the Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs. They blew out the Carolina Panthers earlier this year as well, but they also have a few losses under their belts. They lost to the Patriots, same as the Bucs. They actually lost to the Falcons back in week number 6, and they just got blown out by the Miami Dolphins as well. So this is a vulnerable Buffalo Bills team that can lose football games, okay? But this is still not going to be an easy matchup. You take a look at the stars on the Buffalo Bills, it all starts with Josh Allen. I mean, 2,139 passing yards so far this year, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Actually, interesting story with Josh Allen and just how the Bills acquired him. When the Bills traded up in the 2018 NFL draft, number 7 overall, to acquire Josh Allen, the team that they traded up with was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs moved back, still got Vita Vea. Also, Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield are both 2018 draftees. Baker was the number 1 overall pick in the 2018 NFL draft. Josh Allen was the number 7 overall pick in that draft. Vita Vea was pick number 12. So, hey, former top tier 2018 draft picks all over the map in this game. But look, you can never fully stop a guy like Josh Allen. You can only mitigate the damage, in my opinion. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what the Buccaneers will be able to do to just try and slow down Josh Allen and this offense. And I've also got to mention James Cook, who is one of the most productive running backs in the entirety of the NFL so far this year. Folks, we're only 9 games into the season for both of these teams. James Cook is 80 yards away from 1,000 rushing yards. Absolute insanity right there, right? And 7 rushing touchdowns as well. He's averaging 5.5 yards per carry, 102 rushing yards per game. He has 7 rushing touchdowns. Josh Allen has 7 rushing touchdowns as well. So really, this is an offense that can go out there, get some yards, get some points. The passing game has been a little bit spread out. Their number 1 receiver is Khalil Shakir with 457 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. Their number 2 receiving option is actually not playing in this game. It's Dalton Kincaid. 448 receiving yards for him and 4 receiving touchdowns. So that's a big piece of that passing attack that is not going to be available in this matchup. But you've certainly got to slow down James Cook. Where the Bucs rank in terms of rushing defense so far this year, they actually have the 11th best rushing defense in terms of yards allowed. However, the 18th best rushing defense in terms of rushing touchdowns allowed. So you got to be careful on the goal line and whatnot with James Cook, with Josh Allen. Make sure that these guys aren't getting their red zone short yardage touchdowns and stuff like that. Going on to the defensive side of the ball for the Buffalo Bills, to give you guys a little bit more insight into that, Joey Bosa's having himself a really good year. 4 total sacks this year, 12 quarterback hits. Both of those lead the Bills so far this year. 4 forced fumbles for Bosa. I don't necessarily know if he's going to be going up against Luke Gedeke or up against Tristan Wirfs. I imagine you'll see him move around a little bit, but regardless, you really hope, and honestly, I do feel that you can trust either Gedeke or Wirfs to, very much have a kind of even matchup against what you are getting with Mr. Joey Bosa. Gregory Rousseau is in there with 3 sacks so far this year and 1 forced fumble, 10 quarterback hits. One guy that I feel like is worth paying attention to, though, that is pretty scary in this matchup is actually Ed Oliver. 3 sacks this year, 5 quarterback hits, but with the Bucs injuries at the interior offensive line, because remember, both of your starting guards are out for this game. You've got Dan Feeney at right guard, you've got Mike Jordan at left guard, and Graham Barton in there at center. I am a little nervous that Ed Oliver can go out there, do some work, and possibly get something going. But he's been a little bit banged up this year. He's only played and started in 3 games this year. So he is still certainly somebody that is worth paying attention to. Well, actually, no, he's on the IR right now, so you don't even have to worry about Ed Oliver. Completely disregard what I just said. Forget about it. Ed Oliver's on the IR. We don't even got to worry about it. But continuing on with this defense, they've still got a lot of good pieces. Matt Milano is healthy there and is doing some good work. Tre'Davious White is back for the Bills. Actually, whenever we take a look at what the Bills are doing defensively, they have the 3rd best passing defense in the NFL right now, in 3rd in terms of yards allowed defensively. Now, for the rushing yards, they're 30th. So not having Bucky Irving back is obviously not a great thing, but hopefully they can get Rachaad White going. 3.7 yards per carry for him so far this year. So fingers crossed that Rachaad White can get going in this upcoming game. Maybe slow down the game a little bit, because I feel like that is a big benefit to, really kind of take control of the game as much as you possibly can. This is also a Bills team that is pretty banged up on the defensive side of the ball. Fedarian Mathis is out for this game. As I said, Ed Oliver is on the IR. Shaq Thompson is questionable. Taylor Rapp is on the IR. Damar Hamlin on the IR. So you have a lot of different guys who are banged up for the Bills this year, right, on that defensive side of the ball. I'm curious if the Buccaneers will be able to take advantage of all these different types of injuries and hopefully get something going, get a little bit more consistently in the offensive side of the ball here for them, especially in regards to that running game, slow that game down. I am curious, are there any former Bucs, because I always like doing this, are there any other former Bucs on the Buffalo Bills? Not really. Ray Davis is there. He was a guy I wanted the Bucs to be interested in his draft. Really, no. There's no names I'm seeing where it's like, yeah, that guy used to play for the Bucs. I don't think there's a single guy. Maxwell Harrison was somebody that people kind of wanted the Bucs to be interested in. They didn't end up getting him. Let's see on the Bucs depth chart. Are there any former Buffalo Bills? Let's see. No, Sterling Shepard never played for the Bills. Really, no. Ben Bredesen never played. He's out anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Well, Dan Feeney, actually. Remember, they signed Dan Feeney off of the Bills practice squad. So, Dan Feeney revenge game? I don't know. That's certainly a possibility in there. Aside from that, I really think that's it. Both these teams are very much like homegrown talent types of guys. I think the only one is Dan Feeney. So, there you have that, everybody. There you have that. One more thing before we go ahead and head out here. Shout out Sleeper, the proud sponsor of this channel. If you guys do use the code MrBucs, you will get a 100% match up to $100. Also, for signing up, you guys get $20 for free. It's simple as that. As you guys can see over here, making picks is just as simple as hitting a couple of buttons. So, go make sure to download the Sleeper app today. Enjoy football the way it was meant to be. That is together. Huge shout out to Sleeper for being the proud sponsor of this channel. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about the game. I'd love to hear it. And I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.